Welcome back to Dum Dum's 2099, where improvisers who've never role-played before journey into a futuristic world of Dungeons & Dragons. I am the Grand Wizard Bukake, your host. Alyn, Honor System, and Declan are fighting their way deeper into the Citadel. Declan took point in hunting for traps while he added silencers to his weapons. Alyn took up an SMG as she's running low on magic. And Honor System discovered Dr. Moreau in the lab. Can they survive the assault of Mr. Mittens and the pursuing army of drones? Find out next on Dum Dums and Dragons 2099.
Having escaped Jeff Bezos's patrols, you've made your way up into the lab of Dr. Moreau. Having taken things rather carefully and stealthily, having diverted the drones that were chasing you, you were able to take your time and approached up the stairwell in an ancient building with carvings of illithids upon it, only to be ambushed at the top of the stairs upon entering Moreau's lab. The heat and humidity of the space floating in the air. Honor System, you approached carefully only to be attacked by Moreau's greatest century, Mr. Mittens, who leaps at you through the doorframe. Just a swarm of claws and teeth and fur, and a regular-sized house cat leaps at your face. What do you do?
Gosh, Tom, I mean, I'm a killing machine with a sword, and this is wartime. I mean, I may have to cut my enemy down here. I may have to strike this feline down.
You're asking me for permission, dude. This is your play. What do you?
I'm asking you to stop me. I don't want to cut this cat in half.
That's fine. It's literally a house cat is leaping at your face. What do you?
It's Always Sunny title just says the DM gets Tyler to kill a cat.
Yeah.
It's just a cat jumping at you. You are made of metal. There's not a lot of downside here. So you want to cut this cat in half? That's on you, bud.
A cat previously voiced by a child.
Yeah.
Not a problem.
But no, that was like a half human, half cat thing. This is different. This is pure cat.
That's true.
Well, and now, I mean, technically now it's two cats if it grows some new halves.
Look, for the record, last time it was also a house cat that he had transmogrified into a creature that thought it was a tabaxi, but was not, was just a modified house cat, then went around liberating all the transformed cats, actually just turning house cats into human-sized cats. So that's what's going on back in Dumfaerun, just for canon purposes. It's a very jellical time. Here, you're being attacked by a house cat, thrown by a maniac. What you do with that information is completely up to you, but you're looking at me like I'm holding the sword, and I assure you I am not.
Tyler, just kill the cat, man. Let's do this.
Yeah, they got 9 lives, right? Instinctively, I bring my blade up to intercept this thrown creature.
I have to ask this because I just need to picture it. Do you cut the cat in half horizontally, or is it point out and the cat slides right onto it and down the blade?
The sword was down and it comes up defensively, so it would be a vertical cut.
Fruit ninja'd it.
It's like a skewer.
Yeah. So I'm gonna roll a dex save for this cat. Well, damn. If there's one thing we can say for Mr. Mittens, it's that he likes peeing in rooms. If there's 2 things we can say for Mr. Mittens, it's he likes peeing in rooms and he's very agile. So you bring the blade up, and the cat has kind of a scrambling midair Moreau, just full body matrix dodging. You cleave one of its arms off cleanly, and it comes skittering past you. And Moreau just goes, "Oh, great! Now I gotta regrow a cat arm. Ah, jeez." And in a flurry of blood and fury, Mr. Mittens viciously assaults your leg. Honor System. What's your AC?
19.
All right. Oh, I've got a nat 20, but it doesn't matter. It's a cat attacking a robot. It cannot hurt you. It claws like inefficiently at your leg. It slows you down slightly before eventually calling off its assault and kind of limping, like not even in pain, more so just angrily back into the room and kind of hopping up on a table where you can see almost like a 3D printer with spindles. And Moreau just like walks on his robot legs over and immediately types in a sequence almost as though he doesn't notice. At this distance, you can see the cat has like oddly shaped limbs, as though they've been regrown before. And immediately the spindles begin to stitch in kind of a Westworld opening credits way, stitch flesh onto bone. And the cat is just like glowering at you, honor system, with that like deep unending rage that only a feline is capable of. Moreau turns and
Declan from the back just pushes Alyn and honor system into the room and closes the door behind them all. So we're not having a conversation from a stairwell.
Moreau just kind of looks over his Hawaiian shirt clad shoulder and just says, "Yeah, fine, come on, make yourself at home. Come on in." And he pushes a button and you hear the door lock behind you. And then he pauses. And he looks directly into your eyes, Alyn, through his thick glasses, and which are arrayed, of course, with all manner of mad scientist like magnifying glasses and like one of those big shiny things that doctors in cartoons always have for no reason. The reboot guy had one, so it lives large in my head. He locks eyes with you, and he almost sniffs the air, and he just says, "You're the magic one, right?"
What's it to you?
And just like a grin spreads across his face.
Wait, who wants to know?
He just sort of smiles and nods, and he says, "Someone who likes to pick the winning team." Then he spreads his arms wide, and he just says, "New friends, welcome to my island here on the moon. I am Dr. Moreau at your service, Dr. Nedry Moreau, and I am honored to have you here in my laboratory. Please excuse Mr. Mittens. He is very territorial, as you can see, and well, you did kind of blow up my meat lab and hack into my systems and such, but this," and he just kind of like does a whole hand gesture, like almost a wax on, wax off in Alyn's general direction. He says, This is something worth celebrating. Now, if I'm not mistaken, you've run afoul of the local security. Is that correct?
That'd be accurate, yes.
Yes, okay. And he skitters over to a large box of rats, and he pulls one out, and he kind of skitters over to another machine and just like plugs something into the rat's back, and kind of types on a console, and the rat kind of twitches a little bit, looks up, nods at him, and then he kind of like holds it up to a vent, and the rat just takes off and says, "There, hang on, it's okay."
What do you mean
Listen
it's okay?
And he turns on the comms and just says, "Hey, yeah, I think I've got a bio link on those folks who uploaded their DNA into the meat lab. Yeah, they're making off through the vents there. If you're still looking to kill them, yeah, I'm uploading the data. You can follow the pings from here. Okay, yeah, okay. Good luck." And he hangs up and he says, "These fucking idiots! They're gonna chase that rat for so long." Thank you, by the way, for uploading your DNA. It makes creating a fake bio trace very, very easy. And honestly, I have so many leftover chef rats that I gotta use them for something. Come on in. I've bought us a little bit of time. We got some time to talk now. You look real stressed.
Yeah.
Why are you doing this?
Exactly.
And he just sort of grins and he says, "Like I said, I like to pick the winning team, and honestly, things haven't exactly been going old Nedry's way of late. So come on in. Let me explain a few things to you. You're trying to kill the big man, right?"
Oh, yeah, that's the whole goal. Yeah, if you've got any way for us to fucking do that, we'll do it. And if you don't, we'll still find a way to do it. But I appreciate you making this effort. Declan is going to play totally casual, even though he's still 100% combat ready, but the rat thing's taking place. It's not like shit can get worse. This guy hits a button and we're all fucked, so we have to trust that he's not doing that.
Truly. Honor System and Alyn, how are you reacting to this? Or like what... I mean, we understand kind of how Declan looks in this scene. Like, what are Honor System and Alyn doing in this immediate moment?
Fortunately, honor system is generally tough to read. But through the subdermal channel, he says to the group, I was not aware. It does not feel like we are winning.
Well, let's not tell him that.
No, let's not.
Alyn, she just has her eyes narrowed, like looking at this guy. It's like, why does he think we're the winning team? Like, I don't like that he seems to know what we're up to.
Right. Okay, totally fair. So he gestures further into the lab, and there are kind of various seats and things set up. And he goes to what looks like an overly complex like mixture, like espresso Slurpee machine in the corner, and just starts like pushing buttons and like grinding things up. And he says, "Yeah, this is going to take a few minutes. We've as I said, I bought us some time with the rats, and I got plenty more chef rats, so I can at least buy us time for a conversation." And he kind of like looks at honor system. He's like, "And probably a patch job for the Tin Man over here. You guys want anything? I can do like a Duncancino."
Sorry, what?
A Duncancino. It's like a cappuccino, but I dunk some sugar in it. It's a Duncancino.
I'll take one of those. A little bit of caffeine's good for the nerves.
Duncancino, great. So that's one for Duncancino. Anybody else for Duncancino?
Is it poison?
I mean, sugar isn't great for you in the greater scheme of things, but we're kind of on you guys are on a suicide mission, and at the end of this plan, I don't really expect to see another tomorrow. So, drink a Duncancino while you got him, as the old saying goes.
Dunk him while you got him.
There you go.
You first.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine. We got no issues
go
there.
100% have one. Declan's like leaning on a desk. He's completely casual at this point, just checking over his weapons, chatting like they're old friends.
Yeah, great. So he like grinds up some ice, and these things look disgusting. Like he's not been living well up here. And he slides one over to you, and they're in like those giant big gulp cups with like, he's got like, basically if you stole like a Slurpee machine from a 7-Eleven and then just like fused an espresso machine on it and then took it to the moon and put it in the hands of a mad scientist, that's kind of what we're dealing with. So it's literally got like the rack of cups and lids and straws. Like he's really brought a little bit of the conglomerate up here with him. So he makes himself a Duncancino as well. And he sort of clinks it with yours in like a wet slap because cheersing slushies is never a fun sound. And then he takes a long drag off it. Like one of those unnecessarily long Austin Powers length draws off his straw. And does like a lip smacking, like, afterwards.
Declan will do the same thing. What's it taste like, Tommy?
It's like a supernova flavor. The flavors don't really they don't go well together. They don't complement each other, but each in their own right is kind of an experience. It's like if you mix too many Mountain Dews together, and it's just there's a cacophony of flavors going on for you. Admittedly, though, this amount of sugar and false flavors, it does get you kind of jacked up. So you're going to gain 3 HP from your Duncancino. It's not real HP. Like your wounds don't magically heal up. You're just buzzing a little bit too much to notice that you're hurting. The Red Bull effect.
I think Alan's stomach is rumbling at this point. They haven't eaten in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
No, we fought through a war zone, flew to the moon, and have been fighting through the moon for several hours.
I do want to be clear from a nutritional perspective, you're not eating here either, but you can definitely have a Duncancino if you want to fool your body into thinking it's full.
Tricking it is fine. So,
right.
Yeah, she will gesture.
Oh, okay. So suddenly you're not too good for a Duncancino. All right, fine. And he makes you one, but he's not as nice. Like it's not as artful as he doesn't like swirl it or anything. So he hands it to you. You'll gain 2 HP off your Duncancino flavor experience. Alyn, I think to you this actually tastes much worse because artificial flavors aren't really a thing in dumb Faerun. So this is either like the best or worst thing you've ever tasted. Maybe it's both simultaneously. There's a pretty big Venn diagram there of like never tasted what blue tastes like, plus have to taste what blue tastes like.
Yeah.
It's beautiful and terrible. Love it and despair.
Slam it in your face. So you do feel a little you got a little pep in your step. But yeah, he welcomes you in, and for lack of a better term, kind of gathers you around. This is a legitimate break for you guys. So you will be able to spend hit dice. We're counting this as a short rest. And can I just get an HP check from everyone? It occurs to me I haven't asked this in a really long time, and I have no idea how close to death you all are. I mean, I'm not made of Duncancinos, but it would be good to know.
Yeah.
I'm at
Alyn's at
60.
4. Oh, sorry, Tyler.
Sorry.
Alyn's at 44 of 80.
Okay. Ryan, I assume you're mostly full because Declan never gets hit.
111 of 111, baby. Never been fucking better. The death machine's still dealing.
Never been kissed by death. There's a weird sequel. Honor system.
Oh, I'm gonna get to roll hit dice. Sorry, I forgot about that.
60 out of 102.
Gotcha. Okay.
I'm now at 51.
51.
I don't have any more hit dice.
Yeah, that's
I used them up earlier.
I figured. You've been having lots of smooches with death.
My HP is a roller coaster.
Awesome. Okay, so he welcomes you, and you're able to take a bit of a breather, which is necessary because you do know that kind of like from here on out it's going to be real rough as you continue to climb the Citadel. And Moreau kind of grabs like a pointer, and like an old projector starts up, and he says, so Alyn, you wanted to know why we'll assume introductions were done at some point so that he doesn't have to just keep calling you fake names. That's also a scene no one ever needs to see in anything. He says, Alyn, you wanted to ask why I'm doing this. And honestly, that's a pretty good question. I mean, here I am in my sweet moon base, building meat labs, rebuilding cats. And Mr. Mittens is like, meow. And he's like, yeah, it's fine. He's fine. And, I know what you're thinking. Like, this guy has it all. He's living the dream. Well, I got to tell you, it's been more of a nightmare. You see, I was hired to do a very specific job, a very specific task, and it was both a passion project for me and a sort of a dream come true. See, I was in the middle of trying to figure out how to transmogrify household animals into humanoid creatures of sorts in order to make myself a menagerie of friends. Starting, of course, with Mr. Mittens over here, but also the other cats that I was familiar with, like Grumpy Cat, who is the natural born enemy of Mr. Mittens here, but lived down the street. And I thought it might be fun if he had a nemesis, because what's life without a nemesis? For me, I had a nemesis, a fellow scientist named Dr. Martha. She was brilliant, but too brilliant for me. Which, needless to say, I mean, I was kind of hoping for an enemies to lovers situation, but it kind of became just kind of a enemies to frenemies kind of deal. Because wouldn't you know it, they hired her too, but the money was just too good, and I hate when people get cheap on me, so I had to take it. So Martha and I were both hired by the Planteers. I believe you probably heard of them at some point. In order to come up here, you probably had to take a rocket from their old burnt out city after they fucked off out of reality. Bunch of bastards. But yeah, Alyn, you seem to know them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm guessing you're not from here, right? Is that right? Are you from over there? Like somewhere where there's magic and stuff? Yeah, okay. So you're from where they went then. Is that correct?
They seem to have set roots down in where I'm from.
What a bunch of fucks. That man, Emily, she went with. Anyway, we'll get there. So, Martha and I were hired with a very specific task in hand by the Planteers. Now, you see, they used to have a god that they worshipped, a Captain Plantier. He was one of a pantheon of superpowered creatures that lived on our planet. There was a sun scythe, there was a moon hammer, and a variety of other colorful characters, all of whom claimed to be gods, and that remains to be seen. But in any case,
they effectively yes.
Well, but you see, it's the effectively that I'm talking about, though, right? I mean, it's fine to have lots of powers, and that's admittedly pretty cool. But does that make you a god? I mean, I haven't seen
this is how you define God.
Yeah, fair. You see, this is exactly what I'm getting at, because you see, in my life, science, the quantum energy, that was as close to God as we could get. And he kind of like puts his arms up and does a literal pirouette with his little robot legs. And then he gestures broadly at Honor System, and honestly, you too, Declan, because you're full cyborg now. And he's like, I mean, the two of you know to what I speak. There's nothing that can't be improved upon by science. Declan, you said, I mean, these look like medical replacements. They look kind of shoddily installed, but surely you must have abilities now that you didn't previously. I mean, your eye alone suggests that you probably have better targeting than you did when you were a mere flesh sack. Is that true?
Yeah, that's true. It's all upgrades on the scale of things, painfully given and earned. But so how do we kill Bezos? I'm getting there. I'm getting there.
You need to understand the whole picture. It's very important because
is it?
Sure, it is. What are you going to do? Go up and punch bees? Are you going to punch bees, Magic Alyn? Is that your plan? Is to go punch the bees?
I think I was going to shoot them.
Oh, you're going to shoot them, and let me get a Slicey McGee over here is going to go cut them up. Look, he's not a cat. You can't just take a sword to him. And even then, you didn't even kill this cat. Like, look,
Dr. Moreau, we are in a terrible rush.
Yes. You look like you're about to fall over. So if you want these healing fingies on you, you're going to shut the fuck up and listen to my story, and then you can go on your way.
All right, if you can heal robots, I'm officially shutting the fuck up. Continue.
Thank you. Okay, great. That's an upgrade. You see, so sure, gods for me were always science and what we could achieve with our brains and with the quantum energy and such, which I've later learned was in fact enslaved mages. So you see, here's where things start to get a little fucky. So Plantiers hired me and Martha to try and create a god for them. You see, their god was gone, and they needed him so they could continue to be a ruling power or whatever. They seem to really want this guy back. So they began the I'm the Captain Now project, where our job was to help them create a new captain. They hired the greatest minds that they could find. Of course, I was one, and Martha was the other. Now, Martha's plan was to create a vessel that could house or trap a god.
This is all very familiar. Yes.
Okay, great. So her plan was we build a vessel, like a in the old myths, a genie in a bottle scenario. We build a vessel and we just cram a god into it, and then bada bing, bada boom, your god is here. But again, that requires you to trap a god, and you have to hope you get the right god. And there's also no guarantee that the vessel will do what you want it to do, which incidentally also became a problem for me. But we're getting to that.
Yeah, because the vessel is a full human being with, their own full life.
Yes, exactly. It's like making a sentient jar and then trying to stuff a genie inside that sentient jar. I mean, the jar is going to have thoughts and feelings about what you put in the jar. It's going to make it hard for whatever's in the jar to drive the jar around. I told Martha this day in and day out. See, when I want to make anthropomorphic cats, I was just going to let them have their own personalities. She would have tried to make a personality for them. I mean, she had a psychology background, but terrible idea. Now me, I had a different plan. I thought we should try and imbue godhood upon an individual. That we should, instead of trying to trap a god in a flesh body, instead find a flesh body that could ascend to godhood, Mm-hmm. And thus, I began a project known as the Apotheosis Initiative. Martha's was under that too, but we were all working together to try and create a god. And we had rival projects and rival teams, and it was a lot of fun. We played softball on weekends. But there was a problem. I needed her and she needed me. We each had about half of this equation in our heads. And it turns out that if we just worked together, we probably could have created the right vessel. But we both had our individual projects, and the Plantiers were happy to let us fight against each other to figure out which one was going to turn out to be the right one. They liked having a contingency. Unfortunately, things started to go real bad around these parts, and well, Planeteers started disappearing. I've later learned now, and he kind of like gestures broadly to be like they were being taken to the stack as part of the quantum energy battery down there, which again we didn't know about at the time, but ever since Mr. Typhus disappeared, we've learned lots of shit. So when the Planeteers started going missing, they realized that their chances of survival here were slim to nil, particularly without their captain, and as a result, they found a way to jump through realities to your home, I suppose, and. Well, they took Tyson's assistant Emily with them. She smuggled herself aboard and managed to make it over there. Problem is they took Martha too. They didn't take me, which still smarts a little bit. So I don't know what else has happened over there. I've heard rumors that Martha's lab was in fact still in this reality somewhere, but nowhere I could find in my many researches. Me, I was left with my ambrosia hive, attempting to build a serum that would create a god, as it were. But you see, my problem was I was using bees, and turns out bees are a little bit more industrious than I had initially planned. And in my attempts to create the ambrosia hive that would create the byproduct ambrosia nectar that would allow someone to become a god, the bees. Well, it would seem that all the genetic tinkering I was doing with the bees led them to become sentient themselves. A couple of them escaped with the Planeteers. I don't know what became of them in your world, but if you ran into any sentient bees, that's probably them. But here, the bees, they learned, and they grew vengeful. And more importantly, they listened to all my science talking. As you can see, I like to monologue, and they took notes.
Yeah, do you know how to destroy them?
Yeah, I kind of do. So Bezos, he's pretty much taken me captive. He's making me work for him because he wants to imbue himself with his own ambrosia nectar. He knows that this will allow him to ascend to godhood. After all, his hive was responsible for trying to create it.
What's so special about this ambrosia nectar?
You drink it and you become a god. That's
why
what
don't
I'm
we
getting
just
out of
drink
this.
it?
But because it's not, I'm gonna bet it's not here. If he had it in a drawer, I feel like he'd be a god. But there's sentient bees protecting it.
Yeah. Also, it's not like one of these Duncancinos. It doesn't go down real smooth and give you that pep in your step you need to complete your day. Only an incredibly powerful being could possibly take this. But Alyn, this brings us around to the winning side here. You see, our problem, Martha and I, was we come from a world where magic doesn't exist. We couldn't conceive of how magic would play into our equations. I'm willing to bet that whatever she unleashed on your world probably doesn't have any understanding of magic at all. Just the vessels running around kind of doing stuff, and it seems to be working, but they have no idea why. Is that fair to say? Or are they an incredibly logical, reasoned person? That could also be true. They could be the greatest scholar the world has ever known in your world.
Wait, Alyn, do you know the vessel?
Yeah, you met him too.
Wait, which one was he? The little shitface or the big shitface?
The big one.
Oh, damn it, that's the one who tried to... Oh, fucking shit. He's like super powered. Fuck.
Yeah, all right. Well, whatever that reaction is...
Here's the deal. He's not fucking reasonable. He's insane, throws hammers around and won't shut the fuck up.
You see, this is what I'm talking about.
I mean, he's pretty, he's done okay.
Okay, that's fine. Look, you guys can have your interpersonal issues later. I believe you told me I was on a timeline here. So
shutting the fuck up. Sorry, back to you.
Thank you. No, it's okay. It's okay. I don't mean to be rude, but I only have so many rats, and like 3 more rats have gone into the vents since then. He said we didn't get as many Iron Chef units as I thought, so I had an excess of chef rats and hats actually. Anyway, you can take a hat on your way out. So here's the deal. I am now of the mind that it requires an incredible amount of magical power and mastery in order to survive drinking the ambrosia nectar. Many test subjects have died in the attempt to become gods. Bezos himself has only recently accrued enough power and enough bees in his swarm to be able to attempt this. And more importantly, the odds of him having to rest for an extended time, perhaps even entering a comatose sleep as he ascends, is high. He needed to secure power complete and total power and put his systems in place before drinking it. Otherwise, well, I mean, you saw what happened to the conglomerate. Everyone's a little bloodthirsty right now. So once he's landed his primer hoods, once he is properly in control of the entire world, which he should be any minute now, he will be able to drink the ambrosia and become a god. Now, I don't want that because I wanted to help birth a god into this world. Instead, I've got a bunch of fucking workers who worked for me who now think they can be God just because they made the thing that can turn people into gods. I don't want a bunch of bees to be God, and I don't think you do either. But you might be able to pull it off, Alyn. And that is very interesting to me. So here's the deal.
Yeah,
I'll tell you how to
deal
deal
fire.
with
That's how we'll pull it off.
I mean, we'll see.
Again, Alyn, we just got to shut the fuck up till we hear the whole idea.
Good. No, just continue, please.
Thank you. Continue.
Look, what you do is up to you. I respect it, but I think I got better odds with you than I do with the bee man. So here's the deal. The Bezos swarm is incredibly powerful, much more powerful than they let on. And perhaps more importantly, if any scrap of their intelligence remains in this realm, they will be able to regenerate and return, which would be very bad news for all involved. In order to defeat Jacinda Bezos, named for my mother, you must destroy all of the bees. More importantly, you must make them vulnerable. He has been microdosing with ambrosia for years, and as a result is incredibly powerful. This spray, and he like digs around in a drawer, and it, like he just has to push trash aside, and he pulls out literally what looks like a sprayer, like one of those little hose sprayers for insecticide. In the off chance that he ever turned on me, I figured I'd use this to at least piss him off long enough to escape. But escape isn't in the cards for me anymore, but it might be all right for you. You got to spray as much of the swarm with this shit as you can, and then you need to eliminate it entirely. Your first step is you got to get rid of, how to put this politely, the moon. He's got little frozen vials of himself drilled into the surface all over the place here. You want to deal with it, you're going to have to blow this whole shit up. Now, the good news is he built that big stupid gun in the sky. So if you can turn that thing on here and fire it at full blast, odds are you'll crack this thing open like an egg. You won't have to deal with that anymore. You'll still have to deal with the swarm itself, and that's going to take the spray. So when you decide to try and take him out, spray him with as much of this as you possibly can, destroy all of his reserves, and then you can figure out what you want to do with the ambrosia nectar.
All right, so spray the swarm, nuke the moon, get the juice of the gods.
Yeah, this guy fucking gets it. And, Alyn, when you do decide to ascend, just remember who birthed the gods, yes? Great. Doesn't wait for an answer. He's like, okay, so, Tin Man over here, you're looking a bit sore. I did promise you that I'd use these magical healing fingies in order to set you on your way. I appreciate being able to tell my tale. It's important that people know of my genius so that when you see Martha back on your side, you can tell her I was fucking right. That'll teach her. Mr. System, here's the deal. I don't have a lot of technology here that'll work, but I'm pretty good at flesh. So I can heal you up a bit if you're willing to get a little bit weird.
Flesh?
Yeah, you see, your servos, your systems, the very robotic joints within your body, all of them are based on biomechanics, ultimately. They've just been replaced by metal. Now, I don't have metal sufficient to fix you up here, but I can easily craft some flesh and graft it onto you that will provide a little bit more of the safety and security you need, pad some things out, maybe make a couple of your loose joints stronger with artificial musculature and that sort of thing. Won't take too long, but you're going to look a little bit gross at the end. You can have a minute to discuss with your friends. I have to go make some preparations. Plus, Mr. Mittens always gets a little bit testy when I have to regrow an arm, so I'm just going to make sure I'm outside of scritching range. And he politely skitters over to the Duncancino machine and starts like making a very loud one.
Honor System will look down at his hands and try to So what would the computer version be of like imagining something? I was almost like predicting what it might be like to have like soft hands, not hands meant for like gripping a weapon and crushing things and stuff like that, but like meant for holding things, meant for holding someone you care about. And he doesn't take long to say, yes, I will do it.
Okay, great. He like shuts off the Duncancino machine. At this point, it's overflowing, but he just kind of shakes off some of the excess. And says, "Don't worry, it's very sterile, so we're gonna be fine. You can just hop up on my slab over here." And he just kind of like does a full arm sweep of a slab, and he like puts Mr. Mittens on his shoulder. Who just kind of hisses at you on our system, but then just sits there with tail kind of swerving back and forth. It's got like one kind of vaguely trogdory arm now, because it was a rush job, so it's a little bit too muscly, and is a completely different color, and has no fur, which is just kind of alarming, but we'll get there. He kind of quickly does a sort of a once over of you, and kind of makes a few notes. He says to Alyn and Declan, listen, I want to make sure that all of this is on the level. Is there anything in particular you want me to do or keep in mind as I get in there? Oh, also threats won't be tolerated. I can also just vent this whole space. So
yeah,
don't
I feel like you're doing more than enough for me to be like, we're good. You're not fucking us on any of this again. We'd just be dead. Like, that's all clear. So no threats needed.
Great.
System, is there anything you want to keep particularly inorganic of your general function?
My data. I'm carrying very sensitive data.
To be clear, all of these will be external things only. I don't have time to really get in there. So it'll almost be like a flesh suit in various parts, but we don't have time to grow you a whole body. It'll just be patch jobs.
I am very intrigued by the concept of having a flesh corporeal body. However, only adjustments needed to make me more effective in battle are required right now. Yeah, fair enough.
System, do you want him to focus, let's say, aesthetically on anything that would be exposed outside of your traditional kimono-like garb, and that anything that would be hidden by the kimono can be more, shall we say, body horror? Or do you care about aesthetics? It's really up to you. It's just how people are going to interact with you in future.
At this time, aesthetics do not matter to me.
All right, make his hands look normal if you can. I feel like that'll unsettle people less than if he's got like metal, blood, muscle hands. I don't know why. I just feel like normal hands will make friends nicer for him in future.
Yeah, incidentally, hands are largely where, across all the various species of Faerun, they're a thing that it makes everyone a little bit more comfortable, It doesn't matter what manner of monstrosity you are. If you have hands, and he kind of looks at his own hands, he says, people at least, they recognize you as being like them, So do that for you. And I tell you what, because you guys have been very nice, generally speaking. I don't like that you blew up my meat lab, but it is great that you'll stop my evil bee son from destroying my life's work. So that's kind of good. I'll give you a data chip with some of these procedures. Now, no one is as good as me, and quite frankly, I think you'll have a lot of difficulty down there without quantum energy in replicating any of this. But who knows? Maybe you'll luck out, and you can fuck with aesthetics later. All right, so I'm just going to get to work here, and as he gets to work, he kind of like further elaborates a little bit on the Apotheosis initiative. It would seem that being able to pull samples from the illithids that were discovered on the moon, they seem to have a colony, was helpful in kind of creating the initial hive. Which kind of explains the telekinesis of the bees and some of the other factors at play there. The illithids, despite being, Alyn, in your world, kind of an unstoppable alien force, were unfortunately no match for guns, which were not an expected thing on their kind of reconnaissance tour and as a result, this first team was quickly dispatched. But Alyn, I mean, I think you've moved a lot away from your kind of historian roots at the Temple of Ogma, but I think your brain is able to fit some of this together pretty quickly in terms of like where the divergence between Dumb Faerun and 2099 occurred.
Yeah.
Where it's like without more Illithid intervention, a bunch of different things could happen much easier on Faerun. Similarly, if you're injecting things with like the unbridled brain-stealing telekinesis of Illithids, that immediately changes. Like it's just clicking things together in a way where, again, you can sort of see a bit more of the full picture. And Declan, you kind of look on as Moreau stitches just kind of additional ropey exposed musculature kind of over Honor System's arms and legs, just over the main joints and things. Again, it really is almost like a Schwarzenegger Terminator situation where it's like the robo like skeleton is still very prominent, but the flesh is being added just to, like, I mean, I wear a knee brace a lot these days, and like just having two springs on either side of my knee takes so much pressure off the joint. It's the inverse of that, where it's like, well, what if we put flesh around your mechanical joint? You know, the pressure of the musculature can give you just that little bit of extra ropiness. But it does Cronenberg you up a little bit. So you've kind of got exposed muscles now on our system over your arms and legs. And I think probably just a smattering of flesh on the chest as well, in terms of like, you know, pec muscles. But there's no shaping to it. It literally is just like slab of meat. But he does spend a bit more time on your hands. And you can see that amidst, and this would have been true of kind of how Moreau was building all of his skeletal creatures with the Well of Souls back in Dumb Faerun, he actually applies artistry to your hands. The rest of it is a very quick, like, we gotta hook you up with as much as we can job. But the hands themselves are elegant. And I think like Billy Fingers is there, like just like showing him, like basically just being like a living anatomy drawing for him. And he's kind of taking inspiration from that. So finally, you are.
Oh, no, every finger looks different.
It does. I mean, like, yeah, but it's not like he's like, I've never seen a hand before. This is the best I can do. Honor System, I'm going to say you can go ahead and regain 22 points of health. So I rolled a 10 and a 12 on my D12. So
thank you.
Good job. So I can heal up a little bit. And Alyn, you can regain one spell slot from having a break and drinking some Duncancino.
Ooh, wait, a spell slot.
Like of your fake Calvin Ball slots, you can take back a
for each spell?
Yes.
Sorry.
Like, if you're just listening at home, you have no visual aid to clue you into this. In my head, Laura just immediately takes that, leaps up out of her chair, and just like runs off and hides in the shadows, like marking boxes off.
100%. No take backsies.
Yeah, so if you're not watching this, that's what happened. If you are watching this, I'm sorry.
Laura has become Gollum. Yes, for spell slots.
Precious slots.
When the work on Honor System is done, or if Moreau's capable of talking while it's happening, Declan would ask, like, do you have enough data management or crystals that I could back up system before we move forward?
Unfortunately, someone hacked my system pretty badly earlier and fried them all, I believe in an attempt to prevent me from creating more meat labs here on the moon. Would you know anyone like that? Anyone named Declan, as I understand from the name that showed up in the hack?
Yeah, well, I mean, I did it.
Yes, I know. I'm being facetious.
I mean, I didn't write my name, but...
You might as well have.
I mean, I kind of did. Like, it's hidden in there if you dig deep enough.
Honestly, it's very good. As a fellow hacker myself, turns out you did know the magic word.
All right, you're all right, Moreau.
But unfortunately, no, I have nothing that will allow you to back anyone up. I mean, ironically, given that I deal in godhood and flesh crafting, everything here can just kind of make you more what you are. Nothing will allow you to survive beyond what you currently are.
Fair enough. So if I take the ambrosia, I die.
Yep,
System's inorganic, so it's not an option. So if somebody's going to take it here, it's Alyn.
that's correct.
Or if she takes it home, she could feed it to the ass man.
I mean, in theory, yes, but I would be very hesitant to try and mix those technologies. If Martha continued her work separate from mine, it could easily just blow up his head.
Okay. So
what I'm saying is
Alyn or bust. Alyn or bust. Alyn takes it or we torch it or something.
That would be my recommendation, although you could give it to the ass man if you felt so inclined.
All right. If I drink just a little bit, though, what happens?
Well, there's an old saying as he like brings a saw down on flesh. He's like, there's no such thing as just a little bit dead. And that's what it'll make you. So...
All right. That's good to know. I see. This is why I have to ask the question to remove the temptation. So, okay. So we got God juice for Alyn. We spray the fucking bees. We nuke the moon. We did it.
No, this is actually perfect. I take it and just return everything to normal.
When you say everything to normal,
you see, this is what I'm talking about. You need a sentient mind that understands how power works. Taking the ambrosia, otherwise you end up with a weird hive situation on Faerun.
That's the thing. Bezos just wants to like grab more power for themselves, whatever they are. Swarm. Is it a singles? It doesn't matter.
He's been going by him ever since he read. I had a comic book about a mass bald villain who used to fight a guy with a cape who would fly around. He read that. He thought that guy was pretty cool. So he's been modeling himself after him ever since.
So it's multiple bees that together are one.
It is a hive mind. Yes, yes. Unfortunately, the illithid juice kind of made them a sentient literal hive mind. Yes.
Okay, Alyn, what do you think normal is when you say you're going to turn everything back to normal?
Well, I mean, what I'm trying to do is like take out all the people responsible for, creating all these holes, pathways between the different worlds.
I should also warn you.
Close that up.
Yes, that would be well within your capabilities, I believe. It is worth noting, though, just as we're thinking towards the future, as he's like stuffing guts under a flesh sleeve on our system. He says the ambrosia will not work immediately, Alyn. It will take some time.
Wait, what's some time?
It's possible. It will immediately give you some abilities, I'm sure, but to properly ascend to godhood, it could take hundreds, if not thousands of years. But you will get some immediate benefit, so there's that.
Great. Immediate benefit's good. Long-term planning is good, because, I mean, I don't want to slander you, Alyn, but one might say you're prone to making big decisions without necessarily considering all the consequences. So... you
didn't even want a Duncancino when it was offered. I mean, that's a pretty rash decision.
Alyn just literally brushes that comment aside, like physically with her hand. No. I'm just undoing the mistakes that have been made by other people. That's it.
Again, I'm so glad that this century-long thing is fine, because what you define as a mistake being undone, what are the ramifications? How do you change the history of a world? I mean, right now, our two worlds are like capitalist hellscape, and as far as I can tell, feudal undead hellscape that also probably smells terrible. And like, there's a difference there of maybe 3 core decisions. One is like quantum energy, I guess, killing these illithids. That's it. Those are 2 decisions. You undo those, we don't all of a sudden become necessarily a fucking utopia. We just become a different hellscape. So trying to figure out which things you're going to undo and just be like, I'll undo the bad ones. And doing that quick is going to make shit fucked.
That said, fixing things as you see fit going forward is a much more likely scenario. It'll give you the power to change things as you see fit. Godhood.
You can use that time to learn powers, get stronger, and get smarter. Like a god.
Okay.
That said,
Okay.
you also have magic, so it could happen immediately. I don't know. That's the fun part of all of this. If Martha were here, we could probably figure that out, but she is not. Okay, we are all set,
Yeah.
Mr. System. Declan, do you have anything you want to throw in there?
No, I was just going to say, so Ambrosia's with Bezos. Do you have a fucking map for this?
He is up in the hive quarters, his penthouse here on the Citadel. He needed to ensure that the launch went correctly and that everything was well taken care of down on the planet's surface before he imbues it. He will have it on his like big air quotes person somewhere, but I suspect he is waiting to see that the launch is successful before he imbues.
What kind of delivery systems do you have for this spray?
Oh, just this one. Honestly, I was kind of going to use it as my like surprise. I was going to wear it on a holster and be like, "Ha ha!" So it's in this here spray now, Mr. System. Based on your cat slaying weapon, you could probably spray some of this on the blade. That would likely be effective. The vapor itself will have the effect, so it's not like you have to individually slice each bee. If you're able to slice through the swarm, it'll cause some damage. And similarly, I mean, your bullets, it's probably not as effective there, Declan. But who knows? I'm sure you can figure out some sort of way of getting in there or something
Declan,
else.
do you still have any smoke grenades?
Yeah, I've got one smoke grenade left, and I've got 2 flashbangs.
Is there any way we could convert a smoke grenade to be a spray grenade?
Theoretically, they've got a central mix of chemicals which are released through the exterior once the pin is pulled, and the flashbangs have central things that are brought together that go off with a bang. Adding new chemicals, if we could do it in a separate thing, we'd have to be able to... Can we turn these into flash grenades? Like, he just does the math where he's like, I don't have the tools to rebuild a grenade, but this guy just re-muscled fucking Honor System's body. If he can make, like, a sack around the grenade that can contain the additional ingredients, they could become flashbangs that spray this vapor, or a smoke grenade that smokes the vapor.
Yeah, I was going to make you roll for it, but since you're making him do it, I think he can just tool that up for you. So he'll, create like flesh sacks that will be triggered by the grenades, spray some of the spray in all of them, and he hands you your brace of 3 flesh grenades.
Now, talk to me about these flesh sacks. There's only so many parts of the body that one can relate a flesh sack to. So what exactly is Declan holding?
He purely stitched together some thin membranes. Again, it almost looks like if you like the skin on the back of your hand. It's not what you're thinking. I can tell you that. Yep.
It's not 3.
The grenades aren't going to get smaller in cold weather and expand in hot weather.
The grenades don't like move up on his belt.
His bandolier. No?
Yeah,
okay, fine.
if he gets kicked in the grenade, he doesn't fall over.
Okay.
He doesn't have to crack the pin awkwardly for a couple years until it settles into a nice base pin. Great. So yes, you've got your flesh grenades, and he's out of rats. So he says, "Well, they'll be coming for us soon, I'm afraid." So there is a way up into. I can show you a quick way to kind of get back within the main system. There is a event shaft here that they use to dispatch drones in case anything here got out of hand and started killing people. It should take you up close to the Zeus cannon control system, which I believe you will be wanting to hack in order to blow up the moon.
Yes. Fucking A on that one. Yes.
Right. Well, look, I know I said some cruel things to you and you blew up my meat lab, and I won't apologize for that. That meat lab was a thing of beauty, and I miss it. But if there's one way that my work can live on, if it's between this beautiful robotic monstrosity, those testicular grenades I just handed you, and your eventual ascension into godhood, Alyn, well, I will have beaten Martha after all, and truly... what great scientist doesn't only live to beat their nemesis? And he puts up a hand for a high five.
I liked Martha.
Declan will give him a high five. Declan doesn't fucking know Martha. He's not leaving him hanging.
Very good. Well, okay.
All right, so do you want to come with us, or what's your plan? Because I think everyone, once they figure out the right thing, is gonna
there's no way. And he kind of like gestures to the Mojo style like platform he's on. He's like, there is. I'm pretty much trapped here. Honestly, it's all right. If I didn't help you, you would have killed me. And now that I've helped you, Bezos will kill me. So it's kind of this is the end of the line for me either way. But I'm just happy I was able to try and set things right, and that my genius will live on in all of you. So I'm just going to sit here, enjoy a good Duncancino, and watch the show.
Would you like us to take your cat?
And Mr. Mittens raises a middle finger on his genetically engineered arm.
All right, cat's good. Quick question. Would you like us to leave you with a gun so you can shoot some drones when they come for you? Or would you like to, let's say, picture the future and have this go real clean and quick for you?
Oh, no, leave me alive. I want to gloat. I want to gloat a lot. Trust me, I have ways of dealing with the drones. And Mr. Mittens like shifts to a thumbs up, and just like a tyrant style claw starts to like grow out of its arm. He says, "Oh, great. So now you have the effective defense systems." And Mr. Mittens shrugs. He says, "Yes, no, Mittens and I will make a dramatic last stand and take as many of them down with us as we can." So I guess all that said, good dunking. And he raises a Duncancino to you. And as you begin to move on and sort of pack up your stuff and head for the vent, honor system, you look down and you've got enough of Declan sort of uploaded into your brain that I feel like it's almost like your vision is blurring between mechanics and organics, and like there's just a whole bunch of stuff going on. But you whatever the robotic equivalent of blinking, which I guess is just like quick optic reset. Looking down, you still see hands, and it takes your robotic brain a moment to register that these are yours. These aren't a memory or a malfunction. And as the sort of chaos of everyone getting ready around you occurs, you flex your fingers for the first time, and an odd sensation travels through your system as you feel the breeze on the exposed musculature. You feel the tension in your skin as you move your hands, and though intellectually and spiritually you've found yourself becoming increasingly more human, this is the first time you've really felt it.
This episode of Dum-Dums and Dragons 2099 features the voices of Ryan LaPlante at the Ryan LaPlante on Twitter, Tyler Hewitt at Tyler_Hewitt on Twitter, Laura Hamstra at EL Hamstring on Twitter, and our DM Tom McGee at McGeeTD on Twitter. This episode's sound was edited and mixed by Laura Hamstra. The system we're playing is Carbon 2185, and Dum-Dums and Dragons artwork is by Del Borovic, who can be found at delborovic.com. Our theme songs are Core Collapse and Sanctuary of the Sky Gods by Nathaniel Yaverne, and our ad music is No Control and Chiefs by Jazzar, JAHZZAR, all available at freemusicarchive.org. When it comes to Dum-Dums and Dice, you can visit our website at dumdumdice.com. Our Twitter and Instagram are at dumdumdice, and on Facebook at facebook.com/dumdumdice. But most importantly, we've got merchandise at redbubble.com/people/dumdumdice, or you can join our Patreon at patreon.com/dumdumdice. That's DUMBDICE. Now I'm off to do future things before we return for the next episode of Dum-Dums and Dragons 2099. Dum-Dums and Dice has to give a special thank you to the supreme beings of our Patreon at this time. The Half-Blind Prophet, Christopher Little, Sue One, George Dolby, Richard Cranium, Sammy Boy, Orion Birchfield, Scott Garland, Benjamin V, Gavin and Abby McDonald, Logan, Fire Unfriendly, Acrix, Grandma Likes D&D, Alyn, Austin Nut Powers Fry, Stabby Stranger, Glitch Trick, Roman Brown, Shulzari, Christian Mendez, Spot Allen, Flynn 1138, Alarain Okapi, OMG It's Big Nick, Steve Wees, D&D and Things, and Jill and Noel LaPlante. If you want your name to be added to this list, you can join our Patreon too at patreon.com/dumbdumbdice. Thanks to them, and a little bit of thanks to you.